Hey, YouTubers, Tazman here, bringing you another episode of Taz Teaches Programming Logic. That was a little over the top, don't you think? So in our last episode, we were looking at subroutines and how to use them. And subroutines, functions, routines, what else are they called? Methods. They're all very, very useful in programming because it allows you to utilize chunks of code in multiple places without having to rewrite the code. So very, very awesome. And you'll see we end up using them a lot, especially in object-oriented programming where you have classes. You usually have lots and lots of methods in there as well. So I also issued a challenge in the last episode, and that was for you guys to draft up your own pseudocode version of Guess My Number. And we are going to basically do that today. We're going to go ahead, hold on just one second. Sorry. We're going to go ahead and write the code, pseudocode anyway, for the Guess My Number thing. And then we'll also probably do it in Java itself. And the reason I chose Java is just because that's probably the next language I'm going to focus on as I'm teaching actual languages. So I don't need that. All right, so anyway, let's see. To be honest with you, my tablet has been acting really weird. I've uninstalled all the drivers, reinstalled all the drivers. Hopefully now it's going to work, but this is the 5th time I've recorded this part of the video. So please work. I'm a little flabbergasted. So what we want to do first is we want to set up our variables that we're going to be using. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to, just in this area over here, we're going to set up those variables. And so one of the first ones, since this is a Guess My Number game, obviously we're going to want to get maybe an integer. Oh, it's looking better already. Integer, and let's just call this the secret number. Can I do this now? Oh, it works. Oh, it even lets me erase by turning over the pen. Oh, I'm so happy. All right, so we're going to do our secret number, which would be SEC and maybe a NUM, so secnum. We're going to want an integer for the user's guess. I also left the challenge to have the user give the upper range, you know, the max number, between 1 and blah. So we're going to call that maybe integer, and I really shouldn't be doing these i's in uppercase, but that's okay. This is pseudocode. It's very flexible. And we're going to call that maybe max. Let's just call it max. Then we're going to need because I also said I wanted you to, as an extra credit, to allow the user to say they want to play again or not. We're going to go ahead and set up a boolean for that. So BOOL. And we're just going to call it bool just because we don't have much space. We're going to call it bool, and let's call this play again. PLA, play. AGAIN. Burp. And we're also going to want a boolean if they got the answer. So let's just call it got it. And then, of course, on this play again, they're going to answer. We're going to need a string, STRING. We're going to need a string to hold the answer, whether they say they want to play again or not. And we're just going to call this answer. So I think these are all the variables we'll need. Now we might need more, we might not. I don't know. But I'm just going to create a new layer so that we can always have that available to us. So the very first thing we need to do in our program is obviously we need to have a start. So there's our starting location. After we start, obviously, because we want them to tell us what the max range is, we might want to say, let's just have an input here. So here's an input-output box, and I'm just going to say question mark, the ugly question mark, and max. So we're going to ask the user what max is going to be, and then we're going to assign that to max. So now we have a maximum number. Actually, probably, we're good. So we have our maximum number. So let's see. So the next thing we would need to do is generate our secret number. Now, I'm going to, I don't want to set this, I don't want it to be a routine, but for lack of space that we have here, I think I'm going to do it. I'm just going to call this a routine here, or a subroutine, function, method. We're going to call it RND. And I'm actually going to probably put it on a different layer just so we can write it nice size. So our RND is going to pass in max, because it's going to need to know what the maximum number is, and it's going to return our secret number. So now let's just go do that routine real quick. Oh, I did that on another layer, didn't I? Hold on just one sec, Control E. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that on the other layer. So we're going to have this random routine. We're passing in max. We're returning sec, or our secret number. So let's go ahead and turn off this part. So this is going to be our subroutine, RND. And it's getting max, right? So, and let's just do a comment in pseudocode or flowchart, programming, flowcharting, whatever you want to call it. This is how you would say it's a comment, and says pass in max. Oh, I'm so glad this is working so much better. I mean, it was doing weird stuff before. So here's our little subroutine of random. It's getting max. What we're going to do is we're going to do a simple process. In fact, it's only going to do basically one process, and then it's going to return our value. So we're going to set, oh, let's do it this way. I might be able to actually write it now. So we're going to say sec, and instead of writing sec num, I'm just going to say sec equals a random number. So let's go between 1, let's say random, a random number between 1 and max. And that's going to return secret as a number. So we're going to go ahead and end our little thing here. And we're going to say return, return, and sec. So we're going to return sec back to our program. So basically, we don't need to know how the computer's generating this random number. They have their own function, own code, all in place that's going to generate this random number. So we now have a random number. Oh, whoops, wrong one. And that's our random. Okay, so we now have our random number and it's returned. I need to click on that layer. So the next thing we want to do is we want to output to the user and get their input, right? So we're going to say ANS for answer equals, and let's say guess, GUESS. So this is an output. They're going to ask the user get user, user's guess. And it's assigning that to the value of, not answer, this is actually, we're just getting their guess. Let's, no, this is bad because answer is not what we're using here. Sorry. So we're just getting guess. We're just going to go question mark guess. Now that's being saved in guess now because we have guess up here. So now we can do some verifying, and we're actually going to pass this as another subroutine just because we don't have a lot of space. In other words, I just do this all in line, but because the way this wants to be a wide screen or whatever, you know, a 720 by a 1280 by 720, we don't have space to keep going down. So we're going to do another subroutine in here. We'll put it above that layer there, but let's stay here just for a second. And what we're going to do is, because this would be a subroutine, we have to pass in, obviously we have to pass in the guess, right? G-U-E-S-S. We're also going to have to pass in the secret number. And finally, we're going to have to pass in this Boolean of got it. So we have to pass in those three things, and what we're going to expect back is the result of whether we got the answer or not, right? So we're going to say we're going to return got it. So now let's go ahead and draft up that guy. So if we come up here, this is, oh, we didn't give it a name, did we? Let's go give it a name real quick. Here we go. And we're going to do this check. C-H-K-A-N, or guess. That's probably better to say guess. I keep wanting to say answer, but it's our guess. The answer is whether they want to play again or not. So it's check and G-U-E-S-S. So we're going to check the guess. All right, so now if we come over, where did my layer just disappear to? Hello? No layer. I don't know where my layers just went. No layers match the filter. Where's the filter? Oh, there it is. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so we're going to hide this layer real quick, and this will be our check guess routine. So C-H-K-N-G-U-E-S-S. Okay, so this is our check guess routine. So let's go ahead, and we're getting in those values we said, right? I'm just going to put that in the comment. We get pass in, and we're passing in the guess. We're passing in the secret, and we're passing in the Boolean of got it. So that's what we're passing in. And the first thing we want to do is we want to check if guess is, let's just start with less than. So let's say G-U-E-S-S is less than S-E-C. So if it is less than that, if it, should I do it? Let's do it this way. So we're going to say if it is less than, what we need to do is output something and then continue on. So this is going to say, yes, it is less. And this is the no. Hope I'm doing this right. So if the answer is yes, it is less than, what we want to do is output to the user that they need to guess higher, because obviously we are lower. So we're going to just put in quotes here and say higher. And then we can return, right? Now we're going to return got it. And its default value, actually I forgot to do that. We need to assign this the default value of false. and the play again, we're gonna assign that the default value of true. Forgot to say that earlier. In fact, I did that on the wrong layer, but that's okay. When we switch off, it's going to disappear. So right now, guess it got it is actually still false here. So it knows we didn't get the answer. So this is going to be return, return got it. So we're going to output to the user higher. We're going to say got it. And that's all this cares about. Now, if the answer is no, if it's not less than, then we want to check if it's maybe greater than, right? So we would say guess is greater than secret. Now, here we want to say if it's no. So if guess is not, if guess is not less than, nor guess is greater than secret, that means we got it. We don't have to do a check to see if we got it because guess is not lower or higher than the secret. So we know if the answer is no, they actually got the answer correct. So here we want to go ahead and say that if it's yes, we want to say that they're too high, right? So we want to say lower. So we output lower. And then we tie into there to return got it, right? Now, if the guess is actually neither of these, that means it has to be right. So we have two options. We can actually output here you got it, or at the end of the loop where we're going through the loop to see if they got it, we can actually put it. We're just going to put it here, but in our program I think I'm going to show you that we can put it either place. So we're going to say no, and here we're going to go ahead and output to the user. Nailed it. Nailed it. And that's in quotes. And then we're going to change the value. So we're going to do a process next, an ugly process, but we're going to say GOTIT equals true. So now they've got the answer, and that's going to output to the return got it. So if either of these are the case, what it's going to do is it's going to return got it false, which is sent in as a false. So this is a false. This is the secret number. So we're passing in all that stuff. So if they nailed it, it will actually change this value to true and output true. So now let's go ahead, turn off that layer, go back to our main layer. And this is going to tell us if we've got the answer, right? So now all we have to do is say, put a little while in here. This is our do while. The actual do is up here, but the while, the condition's right here. And we're going to say, so if they haven't got it, so we're going to say not, which is the exclamation point, got it. So as long as got it is false, we're going to loop back to this point right here, because then we want them to guess again, and then we check it, right? If it is got it, then we're going to actually come out this way because I ran out of space, and we're going to ask them if they want to play again and say PLAYAGAIN, put that in quotes. Probably should put all these ones in quotes that are input outputs. So we're going to ask if they want to play again. We're going to assign this, whatever they say, we're going to assign to answer. And then we're going to check if the user was going to play again, right? So we're going to say, and this will be a no. So we're going to say if play again, So in here, if it's a no, N, then we're going to set it to false. If it's a true, we're going to set it to true. Or what we could do is set up our little decision here saying, how do I want to do this the best? So we're saying if play again, then we could say if play again is true, it will continue. So we'll say PLAYAGAIN. If it's yes, then this loop is going to go all the way back up to basically the start, right here. Because we want to have them input a new max number. If it's no, then we're going to go ahead and end the program. So there we go. There is our whole program. That's the pseudocode of the program. As ugly as it is, this would be a functioning program. And we've actually done everything that we needed for the extra credits and everything else. So if we were to run through this real quick, let's just kind of run through and then we'll jump into Eclipse. By the way, if you are interested or if you haven't noticed, on my channel I did upload a video a week or so ago that explains how to install Eclipse and get it set up kind of like I have it here. Or that you'll see in a minute, and also how to get Java set up on your machine. So you might want to go check out that video so you can have Eclipse for the next part, because then you can follow along. So if you enter this program, start it right here. First thing we're going to do, we're going to be asked to enter a what the max number is. So let's say, for example, 100. This random function, let's pretend that it returns back, say, 53. Okay. So it returned back 53. We're going to enter our guess. Our first guess is going to be what? Let's say out of that, I would say probably 50, right? So we're going to come in, check the guess right here. I know I don't have the layer select. Oops, I don't have the layer selected. So our guess is 50. The answer of it, what was it? It was 51, wasn't it? No, 53. So I'm going to guess 50. Is 50 less than 53? Well, the answer is yes. So it's going to say higher. It's going to output me. I'm going to enter in a new guess. It's going to check my guess. Let's say I say 57 or 55. So we come in here. It says, is guess less than the secret? No, it's not. So it's going to move here. It's going to say, is guess greater than? Well, 55 is greater than 53, so it's going to go here. It's going to go lower, and it's going to return back to the program. The program's going to jump up, have me enter a new number. It's going to do this, and let's say this time we nail it. So we say, is guess less than secret? The answer is no, because 53 is not less than 53. Is guess greater than secret? 53 is not greater than 53, so we're going to get no. Obviously, the only other option would be that we have 53. So it's going to say nailed it. It's going to change got it to true. It's going to return back to our main program, which is right here. And now guess got it is going to be true. Therefore, not got it, which would say if not got it. So if this is still false, it actually is considered true, and it continues. It's going to say, oh, I did get it. So it's going to go here. It's going to ask if I want to play again. I'm going to say no, because we already know how it's going to work from there. So I'm going to say no. It's going to say play again. No. Here, yes, if it'll go up there. No, it goes here and ends. And that's the end of our program. So thinking of a game, you know, like guess your number might sound like it's pretty complex. But as you can see, it's actually pretty easy. It's not as complex as you might think, and the computer is going to do most of the work for you. You're just telling the computer how you want it to accomplish the task. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and jump into the Java side of things, and we're going to do the actual code, and we're going to test it. And and we'll make sure that that works. So thank you for watching this part, and stay tuned for working in actual programming language of Java and getting this to work, following basically our same pseudocode. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture of this on my tablet so that I can actually see it, because I only have one monitor. Yeah, I'm poor boy. And so I'm not going to be able to, you know, see it while I'm coding very well. So thank you guys for watching. I'm not going to end it. I keep feeling like I need to end my thing and say follow, like, subscribe, but you know, you can do that stuff. But I will see you guys in a minute in Eclipse and in the Java interface. So see you in a minute. So here's our guest num our guest num package here, right? And here is our guest num Java. So if you're creating this, what you want to do is right click on the, well, if you're on the source, if you don't even have that, you would create a new package. So you go here, new package, and that'll pop up a thing, and I just type guest num. Then I right click on this guy and I said new, and I did class, and then I just called it guest my num Java. Now in Java you want your classes to be uppercase at the beginning, and then we kind of use the camel case after that, where each new word has an uppercase. So that's why this is guess my num like that. All right, so let's think about what we needed. Now remember, I mentioned there are two things we're going to need that are actual excuse me, let me grab my water real quick. So we're going to need two of our Java packages. We're going to need the scanner, and we're going to need the random number generator, which we've talked about. So to get the scanner, we type SCA, and then we can hit space or control and space, and this will pull up the help thing. And if we double click that, you'll see it'll automatically import our scanner when we do that, which is what we need, our Java utility scanner, right? So we're going to say SC for this. This is, so what this is this is the data type. It's a data type or an object scanner, and this is our variable. Just like when we do int and then our variable, this is the same thing. However, with objects, we have to initialize them. So we have to say equals, and we need a new object. So we say we want a new scanner object. So hit control space, and we can say this right here. And then the scanner needs to know what it's scanning. And we're going to say syst system.in. Just like system.out when we're doing print lines, we need a system.in. Now, one thing with the scanner that we learned is you always have to close the scanner. Or you want to close the scanner. So this is kind of being highlighted for two reasons right here. One is it's not closed, and the other is that it is not being used yet, but that's okay. So we're going to go ahead, and at the very bottom of our program here, we're going to do sc.cl for close. So that's going to close up our scanner object, and so it's no longer listening, scanning, or whatever. The other thing we needed was RAN, right? We needed a random number generator, so that's random here. We just do that, and as you can see, it added our Java util random. And we're just going to call this object that we're creating RND for random. And we need to initialize it. New and RAN, whoops, RAB, rabdom. Whoops, I hit control B. Control N. I mean, I hit control N. And there's our random. And there we go. So there's our two objects we needed. So now remember, we needed some variables. We wanted an integer to hold our max number. So we're going to just call max num, right? And we also wanted an integer to hold our secret number, right? So we'll call this secnum. And then we wanted an integer to hold the player's guess. Now, I don't need to explain that. We'll explain that when we talk about Java. Then we also had some that we actually initialized. So these ones were simply declaring. If we do this, we can say, do it as a comment, say DECLA R-I-N-G, declare. That looks so wrong to me, but I guess it's not. Declaring variables. Up here, we're declaring and initializing. D-E-C-L-A-R-I-N-G and I-N-I-T-I-A-L-I. Did I hit an I? Yes. I-N-I-T-I-A-L-I-Z-I-N-G. Is that right? Initializing? Yes. V-A-R-I-A-B-O-E-S. Okay, so there's our initializing and declaring of variables, because we're declaring it here and initializing it here. We could actually do this in a different step. It doesn't matter. We're just trying to keep our code pretty here. So, and then here we're just initializing only. Well, actually, no, this is declaring and initializing. So maybe we should put that up here. Because if we were to initialize our variables, which we will throughout the code, we could just say down here, we could say guess equals false or whatever, or guess equals 20, and it would have that be initialized as 20. Okay, so up here we're going to have some BOL boolean, and this will be play again, right? And we set this to true. And technically we don't need to set that, because in our code we could set that, you know, if they say yes or no, we're setting that there. But that's okay. B-O-L-E-A-N. Now this one, so we don't have to keep setting it, we're setting it up here, because we don't do anything if it says it was too high or too low. We just move on. So this is the got it. And this one equals false. Okay, so there we go. There's all our variables. As you can see, it's moving right along here. Let's go ahead and add some extra space in here. And the next thing we want to do is we need our do loop to play again, right? So do, and there, and then put a bunch of returns here. We can actually get rid of a bunch of these. Like that. We don't need all that. Now we need the while condition down here, and our actual condition will be while not play again, right? Because we want to say while not play again means that it is false. No, while play again. It's the other one I think we want to do as a not. Trying to remember. Yeah, we want to do while not got it. Okay, so we're going to just say while P-L-A-Y-A-G-A-I-N. So this is going to return back, oops. This is going to return back true until we actually tell it to return back false, right? So there's our semicolon, and that completes our game loop. All right, so the first thing we want to do, right, is we wanted to check what the max num is going to be. We want the user to input a number. So let's put in a quick little comment and call this get max range. So we're going to output to the user, and you can type you can type that system.out.print for open parenthesis quote and then your question. Or a quick way in Eclipse is you can type SOUT like that, hit control and space, and then enter, and look, it does it for you. Programmers are lazy. Now the one thing is, I like my thing to be on the same line as the thing, so we're going to get rid of the ln. So this is just going to print, and then it's not going to do a carriage return or a new line for us, because the input statement will actually do that for us. All right, so here we're going to say what is the max number, or the high number, maybe the high, is that, yeah, the high number. And we'll go ahead and do a question mark. And then we're going to go to the next line, and this is where we do our assigning of our max num, right? So we say max, control space, and there you can see is our thing. We hit equals, and then we're going to say scanner object dot and we're going to get the next integer that's input. Next int right there. So this is going to say, what is the next, what is the highest, maybe? I don't know. You can write it however you want. What is the highest number, the maximum value of our range? What is the highest number in our range, maybe? In our range. So between 1 and blah. Okay, so this is going to get it, and it's going to assign it there. So the next thing we did, now we actually did this in a routine or a subroutine, but we're not going to do that here because we have plenty of space. It just keeps entering more space vertically for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to generate our random number, get our secret, secret, number, right? So we're going to get a secret number, and we are going to call that our secret, right? So secret num. Oh, there's a lot of these things. secn. Is that what I call it? Secnum. Oh, I misspelled it. Always spell things correctly. There we go. So now if I do this, it'll be right at the top. Secnum. And we're going to say equals, and this is going to be our random, rnd dot, and we want rnd dot next int, so this guy right here, and this is our bounds. So we wanted this to be max num, right? Now remember, in the last episode, I believe we talked about this random number. If I do max num, it's actually going to be the range. It's the max num isn't actually the value of the max num. It's how many digits. So it's digit 0 through digit, let's say 50. So if I say 50, it's actually 0 through 59 or 49, because 49 is actually the 50th digit. So what we want to do to make it be between 1 and 50 is we need to stick a little plus in here and stick a 1 after it. Oops, what am I doing? Let's see, plus space 1. So this is now generating us a random number, right? Between 1 and 50, because we have that plus 1. Next thing we want to do is we want to create our next loop, because we want the player to guess. We have our number. We don't want to include getting a random or generating a random number in our guess. That's where we do the play again. We want to do that. But so now we want to do our next do loop, and we're going to say do, and we're going to hit a bunch of enters here. We can get rid of a bunch of these. We're going to want to put, oops, wrong one. Let's delete that. There we go. Is this on replace? Yes, it is. SEC. I don't like it. Hit insert. Okay, so there's secnum. So now what we want to do is, this is the beginning of our loop for got it. So we want to say while, and we want it to loop while it's false. While you haven't got the answer, we want it to go have you guess again. So we're going to use the exclamation point, which is the not symbol, and we're going to say got it, right? Because got it is a value, so it's either true or false. So this is saying while it's not true, then it's going to continue looping. So, and that's exactly what we want. All right, so now what we want to do is we're going to get just a little bit lazy here, and we're going to copy this chunk of code, and we're going to paste it after our comment here. We're going to say get the users GUESS. We're going to get the user's guess, and then we're going to paste that chunk of code. We're going to change what this is, because this is now going to be guess, because we want to check their guess, and we want to say, what is your guess? What is your GUESS? Okay, so what is your guess? And then this is going to let them put it in. Now all we have to do is check their guess. So we just want to, let's see, let's do check if the guess is higher, H-I-G-H-E-R, higher, comma, lower, L-O-W-E-R, or right on, dead on, right on, or correct, I guess. Okay, so this is where we're going to have our if statement. Oh, whoops, we forgot our little our semicolon there. So this is going to be if. Now remember what we did first is we checked. I don't know if I can. Oh, I might have closed it. So here it's really ugly. We checked if it was lower first. So we're just going to go ahead and just follow that same logic, and we're going to say if GUESS is less than SEC SECNUM, then we're going to do something, right? If it's not, then we want to do something else. And this is where we said else, E-L-S-E, because if we look at this, this is kind of our else if, because we're going right into another if statement. So if it's this, then yes. Else, that means it's no. Whoops. And I'm writing this with a mouse. Oh, that looks so much better too. Else if, check this. If, and then this is just going to be an else because we don't have an if statement there. We don't have a decision tree. So let's go here. We'll say else if, and if we really want to be lazy, we can do this. We can copy this chunk of code right here, hit Control C, hit Control V in there, and just flip our little sign to say, is it greater than? Right? Because that means it's too high. Other words, we know it's right. So E-L-S-E, else, we know that they got it, right? So this is our final one saying else. Why we got red here? Do if error token, misplaced constructs. That might resolve it as we continue this. So let's just continue. So this is the higher. This is if their guess is too low, we want to say higher, right? So we're just going to S-O-U-T and Control Space and enter, and then say, should we say too low or just higher? Let's just say higher. Higher, right? Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. Sure, why not? Trying to see if guess secnum parenthesis do. That's all correct. Oh, else if. We were saying else if, but we weren't doing the else if. Then we can go S-O-U-T, S out, and we can say lower. Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. And finally, S out, we can say got it, right? So Control Space, enter, and you, whoops, you, G-U-E-S-S, guessed my number. So there we go. You guessed my number, 3 exclamation points. However, on this one, throughout the whole program, got it is set to false. The only place that it's going to change that value is right here. And this is when it's going to check and see if you actually got it. So, and in fact, we could even stick this statement because it would be only executed after you've got it, and we could have simply only change the value of got it right here. We say G got it equals true. And then it's going to end the loop here, and it's going to congratulate the player saying, you got my number. So the last thing we're going to want to do then is, right now, there's no way of changing whether you want to play again or not. It's going to think true, and it's just going to always force you to play again. So we need to, once again, ask the user if they want to play again. Now, we're going to have a small issue that I'm going to show you. I'm doing this kind of on purpose. And we're going to say, tab that in, and we're going to say, does the PLAY player want to play again, right? Question mark. And of course here we'll say, do you want to play again? Do you want to play again? Okay, so we're going to say, do you want to play again? Hopefully I spelled everything right. And then I'm just going to give them an example of saying either yes or no. Okay, so that way they'll know. Now, this is not an integer. This is actually going to be a string. So instead of next int, we want next line, like that. And then we can get rid of that other. Because this is going to grab the next line in the input buffer, whatever is in there. So whatever they type in here, it's going to grab the entire thing and it's going to do it. Now this is red because we're not looking to... Did I need one more variable? Do you want to play again? I think I do. Did I? Yeah, I think I do have one more variable. We're just going to call it, maybe let's just call it again. We need a place to hold, not a sting, S-T-R-I-N. So we need a place to hold that answer. So A-G-A-N. So this is where the user is going to say if they want to play again, it's going to be stored in again. And we're going to change this right here. So if we mouse over this, you'll see it's saying type mismatch. Can't convert string to an int. Because this is an integer, this is saying grab a string. So we need to say A-G-A-I-N and everything should be happy. So the final thing we want to do is do our if statement and say, did they want to play again, right? So there's did they want to play again, and we're going to do a quick if. So we're going to say if parenthesis, and our condition is if again equals a y. Right? So we're going to say if, and I'm going to do this in another set of parentheses, and I'm going to explain why. So we're going to say if A-G-A-I-N equals, or actually we don't do it equals, that's for comparing numbers. We do equals, and then we would say y. Like that. Okay, and then we have here, we're also going to check if they do an uppercase, because sometimes you hit caps lock. Happens to me all the time. I hit caps lock and it's on and I don't realize it's on. We don't want them to hit Y and it's uppercase and it makes, or hit N and it's, or hit Y because they want to play again, but it's uppercase so it doesn't let them. Whoops, Control Z. Let's go ahead and grab this. So we're just going to do this again like this, and we're going to say V. And we're going to make this into an uppercase Y. And then if they say yes to that, then we just play again. Well, wouldn't it be easier, because right now play again is already set to true, wouldn't it be easier to say not play again? And then we don't have to worry about setting the variable, because here we're not really going to do anything. It's already set true, so we don't need to worry about it. So, I mean, we could change this to N and N, but if we say not play again, this is the opposite. So if it's anything other than Y and Y, then it's going to consider it a no, right? And then all we have to do here is say P-L-A-Y, play again, equals false. And that should do it. Everything, I don't think we have any errors, so we're good there. And if we run this, we should be able to see, let's just do one little thing as a testing thing. Once we get our secret number, just so we can verify that it's working right, let's just do a S out here. We're going to print on the top of the screen what our number is. Now, for your actual game, you wouldn't want this. So this is our secret number. So at the very top, it's going to show us our secret number after we tell it what our range is. So let's go ahead and save that and run it. And as you can see, what is our range? Let's just say 50. So the number's 31. So yeah, that seems pretty random. If I start off saying, okay, I'm going to guess 50, it's going to say lower. All right, I'm going to say 25. It's going to say higher. Then I'm going to say, let's see, between 50 and 25, we're looking probably around what, 35? It's It's going to say lower. So now between 25 and 35, we're looking at about 30, right? Not 390, 30. And it says higher, so now between 35 and that, maybe 33. It's going to say lower, so we're going to maybe do, well, let's just get it, 31. So now you can see it did it, right? Now you'll notice I can't type anything. And the reason for this is because the way we get our input. So let's, I don't want to do this really, but let's go back into Photoshop just for a second and hope that this doesn't screw up. So when I'm getting those integers above, I'm saying get int, right? So I enter, for example, this is the got it, or so let's say the user enters in 31 and then hits carriage return. Because that line says next int, it's grabbing, hello? It's grabbing the 31 out of the keyboard buffer or out of the input buffer. However, this carriage return remains because it is not an integer. Now, when I say get line, holy cow, what's going on? When I say get the line and I have, say, a yes and a carriage return, it grabs this entire thing. Now it doesn't care about this, so it just gets rid of it, and then it checks that value right there. So the reason our, oh my gosh, what is going on? Oh. So the reason that our program ended is because this carriage return right here remained in the input buffer, and it considered that a carriage return without any letter, which obviously is not a yes, so it's false, and it ended. So as you can see here, it's not read. We can't run it. The way we fix this is after our last get line here, or just before we go do our other thing right down here, we can clear that buffer by simply doing our sc get line thing without assigning it to anything. So we can do this, and let's say cl clear any garbage from the form, from the inputbuffer. So because we're just putting this without anything, it's not assigning it, it's simply clearing out the input buffer, so that now when it comes here and we say do you want, not wanat, do you want to play again, it's going to allow us to enter something in and hit enter because it doesn't already have that value in there. So now that we've cleared the input buffer, we should actually have this thing work right. So that's why I said we were going to generate an error, and I wanted to show you why. So now if we say what's our highest range, let's say 100, right? So now our number is 81. So what's our guess? Let's just say 81. Or yeah, let's say 81. So you guess my number. Do you want to play again? So as you can see here, we're still running. So I could say yes, and it lets me play again. Oh, actually, wait, we messed up. Do you want to play again? If, let's just change this to no, just to make it a little more clear. That way we don't have to have the knots. So if no, but that means any other key is going to equal yes too. Sorry about that. So let's see. So what's our range? 100 again. We're going to guess it. So it's 17. We nailed it, baby. So do you want to play again? Let's hit yes. And what's the highest number range again? Let's say 1000. As you can see, gave us 606. Yes. So we can keep playing again, or we can hit no, and it exits the program. Now we are no longer in the console. All right, so there you go, guys. I'm not sure there's much more we can really do in the programming logic. I'll leave it up to you guys. If there's any questions you have or anything that I need to create a new video for the programming logic, let me know and I'll go ahead and do that. But other than that, I think we're going to call the programming logic series pretty much complete. And I'm probably going to start on the Java series where we're going to learn the nitty gritty about Java. So hopefully I see you guys there as well, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Aside from that, comment, like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, check out my other channels. There's the Tazman, T4zzM4NN, and the Taz Unplugged. Lots of good stuff on those. So that's it. Until next time, I'll be seeing you later. Bye.